While sound objects provide immediate ways to manipulate a sound with controls like pitch and high and low pass filters, there are many additional ways that we can modify a sound through the use of effects. Effects operate as plugins, like those you'd find on a conventional DAW, and they provide numerous sound tools such as reverbs, dynamics processors, equalization, delays, and more. In this example, we'll use effects to enhance the Cube demo game. Here we can see the player walking through the room before entering a teleporter. The sound of moving through the teleporter could be a bit more dramatic, and it would be nice to hear some room ambience applied to the footsteps to heighten the sense of realism. An effect can be applied either by inserting it directly onto a sound object, or through the use of auxiliary sends that feed an effect that's been applied to an auxiliary bus. To accomplish what we're looking to do, we'll explore both approaches. Here we have the Wwise project for the Cube demo game. For the teleport sound, we'll insert an effect directly into the teleport sound SFX object. First, we'll select it, and if we play it, we can see that it seems like a little bit short in duration. To lengthen the sound, we'll add a delay or an echo to it. Click the Effects tab in the Sound Property Editor. And here we're going to see that there are 4 rows in the effects area, each representing a position where we can hold a different effect. Click the Selector button for Effect ID 0, and we see a long list of options. Now be aware that while we can choose anything from this list, the Wwise Convolution Reverb or any of those that do not begin with Wwise are third-party plugins that involve additional licensing fees when the game is released. In this case, we'll choose Wwise Delay, the delay subcategory, and then we'll start with Echoes Linear. The Wwise Delay plugin with the Echoes Linear preset is inserted directly onto the teleport sound object, and now when we play it, we can hear the effect. We can use the previous and next arrows to quickly cycle through other available effect presets. Let's go ahead and move to 1 tap half second. All right, so this preset gets us close to the desired sound, but in this case, the echo goes on a bit long, so we can click the Edit button to open the effect editor. Now, here we see the properties for this particular effect. The available properties can vary dramatically depending on the complexity of the effect plugin. Let's set the delay time property to about 0.4 seconds. That's a little better. All right. Now, by default, this effect is generated in real time when the game is played. Applying effects in real time uses up the game system's CPU power, and when there's a lot of different objects running various real-time effects, that can be quite a load on the system. So to eliminate most of the CPU load, we can choose to render the effect as a new audio file when we generate the sound bank. We'll just go ahead and close the effect, and then we can click the Render checkbox. You'll see that the Teleport Sound SFX object turns blue, indicating the effect hasn't yet been rendered. The rendering will happen automatically the next time you generate the sound bank. Another approach to using effects is to use auxiliary sends that feed a common effect that's been configured on an auxiliary bus. This is the ideal approach when you have multiple sounds that require the same effect, as it's much more efficient with regards to CPU use than trying to insert multiple instances of the same effect across multiple objects. So this is perfect for applying some reverb to these rather dry footstep sounds that the player makes as he walks through the environment. We'll start by first creating an auxiliary bus in the master mixer hierarchy, which will serve as the home for the reverb effect. First, select the master audio bus, and then click the Create New Auxiliary Bus icon. In gameplay, the ambient reverb effects are particularly obvious as you walk through the various corridors within the game maps. So we'll name this new bus ENV for environment _ corridor. Now that we have the auxiliary bus, we'll need to add the effect plugin that's going to be used to generate the reverb. This is done in the same way that we inserted the effect onto the teleport object. Now, first we must make sure that we have the auxiliary bus selected. So choose it, and then again in the Effects tab, we'll go to the first position, In this case, we'll choose one of the Wwise room verbs. We'll go to the room subcategory, and we'll make it obvious by choosing room large. Now, of course, we could edit this effect as well, but we'll leave the default settings for now. Now we need to choose the sound SFX objects in the actor mixer hierarchy that will feed their signal to this reverb in the new auxiliary bus we just created. Since the reverb needs to be heard on all of the player character sounds, such as footsteps, as well as pain, or when the character dies, we can simply add the auxiliary send to the actor mixer parent of these sound objects, and the inheritance system will propagate the setting to all of the child objects contained within. So we'll select the player actor mixer, and then we need to go to the General Settings tab. Here we're going to see a user-defined auxiliary sends area, which is currently empty. To change this, simply drag the auxiliary bus we just created into the first available slot. Now, we can hear the room reverb effect we set up when we play any of the objects contained within this main character actor mixer. Now, to make this more obvious, we can change the amount of signal being sent to the effect using the volume control just to the right. We'll go ahead and make this really obvious. And again, we can hear this on the other objects within the player actor mixer. All right, that's a little much, so we'll go ahead and now select the player actor mixer again, and we'll set the effect send value to about -6. That's better. Another way to control an auxiliary send level on an object is to have the game directly send messages to Wwise indicating what auxiliary bus a sound should be sent to and at what level. This is in fact the approach used in the Cube demo game. As you walk through the maps in Cube, the level editor has defined reverb zones. The game code is written so that when the player enters or leaves a zone, the game engine sends specialized calls to Wwise indicating which specific auxiliary send volume should be turned up or down. To use this approach, we'll first unassign the environment corridor user-defined auxiliary send we configured earlier on the player actor mixer. So we'll choose the player actor mixer, and then in the user-defined auxiliary sends area, right-click our auxiliary send and choose Set to None. Now, to use game-defined auxiliary sends, all we need to do is click the Use Game-Defined Auxiliary Sends checkbox. Now, when the game is played, the objects contained within the player actor mixer will be able to recognize the Wwise game calls related to auxiliary send values. Note that the volume control beneath the Use Game-Defined Auxiliary Sends checkbox, this is used to offset the values being transmitted from the game engine without having to adjust the values in the game code.